Alright, welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name's Elliott with Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we are going to review a ski that I did not ski this last year, but I skied previously. Back in the 2016-2017 version, I skied on the STOCKLI STORMRIDER. The STORMRIDER 88 to be specific. The STOCKLI STORMRIDER 88 I gave as the ski of the year. It was my ski of the year pick. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. And then years later, I bought, I think it was like the 2019-2020 version of that ski. And I skied on that ski for about 3 years. So we're gonna review this, we're gonna kind of react to the Ski Essentials review of this. But I have a lot of opinions about this ski. And why don't I just get it out of the way now? I thought that this ski was really good at the time. I gave it like my ski of the year. So when I first reviewed these skis, my first kind of feedback was just the price. I was blown away by the price. I want to say at the time they were about $1,100 for just the skis. And at the time, you could still get skis for like 600 bucks. So they were almost twice the price of any other ski. And at the time I kind of balked at it and I said, oh, okay, there's no excuse for one pair of skis to cost twice as much as another pair of skis. There's no reason to justify that. But then I skied on them and I said, okay, wait a second. You know, back then they were carving really well. They were like my second or third favorite carving ski, as well as doing great in the woods, being super responsive. I was blown away by these STORMRIDERs. The problem that kind of kicked in later, so I gave them that review, gave them, you know, best scores, editor's choice for that year. But then years later, after I bought a pair of the 2019, 2020, whatever it was, that I gotten at a ski swap, I skied on them for a few years. And a lot of the things that I really loved about them at that kind of demo day, I realized that I didn't like in the long term, right? So they're really heavy skis. You know, they've kind of got that thick metal and they carve really well, they rip really well. But after a while, if you ski on them for a few runs, they feel great. They feel like almost nothing else. But I noticed when I was skiing on them all day that I kind of got tired of them, and I found that they weren't as light as some of the skis that had come out. Things like Atomic Vantages had gotten better. Atomic Mavericks had improved on the Atomic Vantage platform. And I found that I was like, wow, for the turn I'm getting, the weight isn't really worth it. If you're just demoing them at a demo day for a few runs, you go, wow, this is great. But that extra weight over time really got tiresome, and I found that it just wasn't as responsive as what I wanted. So here's my hot take, and take it with a grain of salt. I'm gonna try some new ones, so maybe they've changed. But I think these skis are kind of review bait. I think that they feel really good for somebody who doesn't ski all day long. But as someone who likes to ski all day long, I think that they're a little bit heavy. Now that being said, I love them. I would still probably give them like an 8.5 out of 10, 9 out of 10, but I don't think that they're as good as some of the modern skis today. And I think that they kind of bait ski reviewers who are only gonna ski a handful of runs or maybe even half a day. You're gonna be blown away by these, but I don't think they're all that. I think that they're really overhyped. They're obviously expensive. And, you know, so for me, I don't know. I just want to kind of give you my take on it before we respond. But anyway, that's my hot take. I know I'm known as like the negative review guy, but I'm just trying to be honest. If you are interested in buying STORMRIDERs, they are nice skis. They loaded beautifully. They popped out of the turn. They did everything I needed them to, but I felt like they needed a lot of weight in the ski in order to get that. And I just think that now that there are better skis out there. I think the design's a little outdated, and yeah. Anyway, so that's my hot take. Take that for what it's worth. Maybe I'll try a pair of modern day ones and think they're great. I also think what is a little bit going on is it's one of these luxury skis where now that I've seen what else is out there between the Salomons, Volkls, Atomics, Fishers, the price isn't justified. It's not worth 2 sets of skis, especially if you are someone who's just gonna either get 1 pair of Stocklis or 2 pair of skis like a Carver with a narrower underfoot and then a big powder ski. I don't think the STOCKLI replaces that, and I don't think the price is justified. I know that there's like a lot of marketing with like, oh, every ski is handmade, and they're definitely well-made skis, don't get me wrong. And I saw something about like the rubber being kind of like sprinkled throughout the mold. But can I be honest with you? I think that's a gimmick. I don't think these skis are any better than an Atomic. Honestly. That being said, I did try the Stockley lasers, and those were probably some of the best carving skis I've ever been on. But again, were they worth 2 pairs of skis? No, skis have come a long way since then. So anyway, that's my opinion. I think they're a little bit review bait. I think that they're really flashy and feel really good up front. But if you had them for, like I did, I had mine for 3 years. And after a while, I was like, man, I don't really enjoy these at the end of the day. And I'm a strong skier. I see comments saying like, oh, well, what about this? And it's like, I don't know, I'm not perfect. There's definitely room for improvement, but I am a strong skier, and I tend to ski into the day a lot longer than even some of my friends that I ski with. I'm not perfect. I definitely have things that I do wrong, but I think that these skis, I don't know. I think they're a little overhyped, and I think they kind of bait ski reviewers into skiing a ski that they're not going to ski year round. And as someone who owned them for 3 years, I can say at the end of the 3 years, I was ready to get rid of them. In fact, I sold them. I mean, the nice thing about luxury skis is they still hold their value for some weird reason. But yeah, I sold mine. I liked my Atomic Vantages and my Atomic Mavericks much more. They gave me much more responsiveness, they were a lot lighter, and they were way more fun in the trees. And then the carving, I felt like with the improvement over time, they caught up as far as carving goes for the Stockley Stormrider. Stockley Stormrider? Stockley Stormrider. Okay, so anyway, that all being said, now you know my opinion on the Stockley Stormrider. Let's see what Ski Essentials thinks. And I have not watched this review, so that wasn't like a dig at them. I have no idea what they're gonna say, but I'm just gonna tell you my opinion that I think the Stockley Stormriders, I don't know, I feel like they kind of bait people into really strong first impressions, but over time, they get a little tiresome. So anyway, that's enough of me talking. Let's watch what they have to say.
Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2023 ski test. Got a Stockley Stormrider 88 here. This one's actually a carryover model from last year, so if you missed your chance in 2022, fear not, you can pick this thing up, same ski, same graphic for 2023. And all that amazing performance and quality carry forward as well.
Yeah, so I mean, this looks just like the cut looks exactly like the ones I had. I'll have to look up what year it was, but these are like the exact same cut. Also, nice short radius turns. That looks really good. And you know, the skis they ski well. But anyway, let's see what they have to say.
The nice thing about this ski here is it's got a lightweight wood core, so it's easy to use. But when they add 2 sheets of metal to it, that really stiffens and dampens.
Okay, first off, that's really nice skiing, as always. Bob, you get a thumbs up if that's your skiing. I can never tell. They need like name tags on the back. But 2, yeah, it is like probably a light wood that makes it feel soft, and then it feels rigid kind of at the apex of the turn. But I would say overall, if you're thinking about the ski, it did, I don't know if I would use the word light when I think about them, but that's just my opinion.
The nature of the ski and allows it to be precise and really a high performance option for advanced and expert skiers who are looking for that all mountain ski. You know, 88 millimeters underfoot is a fantastic.
Yeah, and that's something Stockley almost gets away with because it's this all mountain ski. A lot of times I think that they kind of are going for a 1 ski quiver where they go, oh, well, it's expensive, but it's your 1 ski quiver. Would you rather have 2 skis or would you rather have 1 nice 1 ski quiver? And in my opinion, the 2 ski option is probably better, honestly. Because these skis are so heavy, when there was a lot of powder, I found them to not quite be wide enough. They did carve beautifully, but you have to be really charging, and especially if you get into like some of that softer snow late season, they can feel really uncomfortable. Like I said, they're still like, I don't know, if skiing on them now, I'd probably still give them an 8.5, especially for my older version, so I'll try to get on a pair this year. Stockley is really hard to get on, and all these luxury skis are really hard to get your hands on. So, but definitely, I will give you guys a review this year, but I kind of fell for it. You know, I was a reviewer back then. I had a website called Rickety Ski Reviews where I wrote web articles, and I thought these are the bee's knees. I recommended them to everyone. And after having them actually owning them for a few years, it started to be like, oh, these were really good initially, but that weight gets really tiresome, especially if someone like me that wants to carve and rip, they're perfect for that. But as soon as you kind of got off trail, they sunk kind of down to the bottom. They weren't as light and playful as I was hoping for. So I don't know, they're not as diverse maybe as this is making it sound. But Bob hasn't said anything wrong. I don't know, I wouldn't use the word light. Like, I would just keep that out of my vocabulary for this review.
Plastic waist width for people that spend most of their time kind of either on trail with maybe 20% off trail. This 88 millimeter shape is a great place to be. You know, we here in Vermont, this is a really great choice for a daily driver. You know, if you live.
Yeah, I would say that's spot on. Like, that 80-20 split is great, but for a ski that costs double, it should be able to do more. That being said, I could see these being really good in Vermont because they're so heavy. They're really gonna be able to kind of cut into that edge and really stand on it. Because of that weight, it's gonna kind of allow you to carve and dig your edges in. I'm sure that they're great for Vermont, but as far as the West Coast goes, I would rather have something a little bit lighter because the snow's so soft. You want to kind of be able to finesse more. That, and I think for an 88 underfoot, you should be able to go in the woods a little bit easier. That's just my opinion. But if you're going to be a one ski quiver and you're going to cost almost twice what other skis cost, I think it should have a little bit better range. But that's not who the ski is for, you know? Honestly, the ski is for somebody who wants something well made, precise carving. But if that's the case, maybe get a laser or something, which is their more carving oriented ski. If you're gonna be on the groomers 80% of the time, I don't know, is it really worth spending $1,100 for an all mountain ski that doesn't really go off the trail that well? I don't know, I guess you gotta ask yourself, but for me, after owning them for 2-3 years, the value wasn't really there.
Lived out in Colorado and western United States or something like that, would be a good, you know, groomer ski. You'd want something a little bit wider for the snowy days.
Okay, I know these guys do ski out west, but I would say that this is clearly somebody who visits the west, because I really didn't like it all that much in the groomers. Because the thing with the West Coast is that because we get so much sunlight, by the end of the day it can get pretty soft and almost, yeah, I don't know, you can really finesse the turns rather than standing and pushing down. If you go early season, like a lot of people who go to the West Coast go early season, Sun Valley, places like that, because we have snow, but late season isn't like that, or even mid-season. So anyway, as someone on the West Coast, I probably wouldn't recommend these unless you're just all groomers or you're going somewhere that has pretty firm snow like Sun Valley, where it's more like groom trails, snowmaking kind of thing. Or Oregon, honestly, Oregon gets some kind of different kind of snow where it can get wet and then get kind of frozen at night, so maybe it would be better for that. But if you're like Utah, Colorado, Idaho, I don't know, they're just okay. And even Stokely has better options, in my opinion.
But 88's a really nice middle of the road shape for sure. And then they add kind of their free ride mentality to it that brings that on-piste performance to another level when the snow gets a little bit deep and soft. But this one's a 175 here, produces an 18.4 meter turn radius, so you can really let this thing run very smooth and stable at speed.
Okay, one thing I'd like to say too is I like not only the width and the length on these skis. That's a really nice ski. It's got a good radius, you can get in some slalom turns. I mean, that's the thing, on the groomers, these feel so good. They do feel good. They feel really good for the first maybe 3 or 4 hours of skiing. But if you ski all day and the snow gets soft like it does on the West Coast, I don't know, you get pretty sick of it after a while. Or you want to go into the trees and the snow is not perfect. They're really heavy and they're really they're definitely on the chunky end. So I like the length, I like the width that he has going on, but again, if you're gonna buy skis and be stuck with them, I was, and I didn't even watch Ski Essentials and buy them. I wrote my own review. I bamboozled myself, and I still, would get at the end of the day, want to go in the trees and just be like, oh, God, these are just, you have to be so patient, and they're so like, they take so long to kind of hop around. I don't know. That's my opinion. They're still great skis. If you're on the groomers, they're gonna set that edge. They're gonna feel good. But remember, it's like ski boots. If you try ski boots in the summer and they feel soft, oh, they feel so good, they feel great, and you're in Vermont or something, and then you go in the winter and it's like 10 below, well, guess what? That soft plastic isn't so soft anymore. So just, I don't know. As a consumer or somebody on the other end watching this, just know that these are great skis, but they have some serious downsides that you need to be ready for. If you're only skiing like 20, 30 days a year, and you just want something that's precise and perfect on the carving, I would have no problem recommending these. Are they worth twice as much as another ski? That's where I'm not so sure. But they are well made. They're just not doubly well made. I don't know. I don't know if that logic tracks.
When we take a look at the shape a little closer, you know, you'll see why you get that great kick out of the finish with some softer snow playfulness in the shovel. Also in this 175, let's get it on the scale here. One of the nice things about these is that they're not too heavy. 1,710 grams in this 175. So we're, you know, a couple hundred grams shy of that 2,000 gram threshold. Allowing this thing to be pretty quick and maneuverable for having 2 sheets of metal.
Okay, big asterisk there for having 2 sheets of metal. I mean, they are still pretty heavy. That's heavy. I wish they would do like a Top Gear thing where they would almost like have each ski's weight so you could see where it kind of compares. I think the reason that they're not as heavy as maybe some of the other skis is that they are pretty, like the width, they're pretty narrow at 88 compared to some of the 90 or 100s. So I wish that we maybe had like another 90 or under to compare it to, because that still seems pretty heavy to me. And maybe it's just the cut. Maybe they're not actually that heavy and it's all my head. But man, when you're carrying them, they feel heavy. When you're skiing on them, they feel heavy. Maybe it's a cut or a shape thing, but I could have sworn the pair I had were very, very chunky. Just my 2 cents.
The thing that makes it really kind of special is that the top sheet is the second metal laminate, so they're able to kind of forego an additional top sheet out of, you know, whatever laminate they choose. So not only does that reduce weight overall, but it also increases the precision by having your binding just drilled right to it. So each and every movement that you put into the ski gets directly translated to the snow. And
okay, as someone who owned these, I can say that's a bunch of phony baloney. I mean, maybe I just don't have the sensitive feet that Bob has, but I did not notice that. That to me seems like something where someone tells you it and you start looking for it more than it's actual noticeable. I had these skis, I had them directly mounted like he's talking about, and I never noticed any more responsiveness. If you want responsiveness, get your boots fitted, get good boots, get the stiffness right, get the size right, everything. You want responsiveness, focus on your boots. You'll get way more responsiveness than you will with whatever gimmick they're talking about. The top sheet thing, I will say that I noticed that the top sheets like lasted longer. I thought it was just because of the metal, but that makes more sense that there's not kind of that enamel over it that can peel off. So I did notice that they aged really well. So I guess that could be like a value proposition if you're trying to justify your purchase. That they didn't like delaminate or anything. They were really well built. But like I said, there are serious downsides that you don't notice until you've owned these skis for a couple years.
And that's really what it's all about when you're looking for high performance out of a ski, and they do it as good as anyone else.
They do it as good as anyone else, and yet they charge double. Come on. Make it make sense to me, huh? I mean, I'm being a little harsh, and especially harsh for a ski I picked a ski of the year. God help me. But anyway, I think that, you know, those are valid criticism. This is an expensive ski. I'm not expecting it to do as well as everybody else. I'm expecting it to do twice as well, right? Because that's what they're charging. And again, these are nice skis, but I don't know. I want to talk about the bad. If you're going to buy these, go for it. I wouldn't have any problem. Like, if someone told me they were going to go buy some Stormriders, I'd be like, yeah, I had them, I like them. But I also, if you're going to buy them, you should know the downsides that you're getting with them. Because just because you spent double doesn't mean there's no downside. There might, you know, anyway. Sound like a broken record. I'm trying not to. Okay.
We do see a nice shape for more on-trail skiing, especially in the tail. Nice flare out at the end here, so minimal taper at the tail end of the ski. So this thing holds to the snow right to the very end, giving you a very strong kick out of the turn.
I would say that's totally accurate, and it makes a really strong platform for you to kind of build your pressure and like push off from to get to the next turn. So he's not saying anything wrong there, and I would say that my experience owning these skis for 3 years, that was absolutely correct about the tails. So just want to, I want to validate Bob here.
And then in the tip, a little bit more free ride oriented here. Minimal taper. You're definitely getting that nice edge initiation. But it's not too crazy that it's like a full-on on-trail ski like some other stuff Stokely makes. And then we get a little bit...
Okay, Bob, I wish you were a little more specific. He's talking about the laser, which is more of the carbon ski. It's almost supposed to be like a slalom ski, but I believe it's like a cheater ski anyway. Yeah, what he's talking about is like the hourglass, right? Like in the sharper hourglass you have kind of the more range of carving you have. And when you kind of have less like distinct hourglass, you can get a little bit more stability. Something like a vocal mantra comes to mind. So just giving you as the audience more context. Let's be honest though, these really are meant to stay on trail. I know that they're advertised as all mountain skis, but as someone who took them off trail, I really didn't enjoy it much. In fact, I enjoyed the Vantages more. Vantages, Mavericks, Solomon QST, I mean, you name it. I like these skis. They can get by in the woods, but if you're gonna go off the woods every day, maybe look at something else. Just my opinion.
The tip rocker, I mean, it's really not a whole lot. There's a lot of positive camber underfoot here. Rocker starts about there, about the widest point of the ski. And then in the tail, again, pretty minimal, super low splay. So you're gonna get that, that firm connection to the snow throughout the turn.
I will say too that if I'm being more positive, which I'm trying to do each day, if I'm being more positive, these skis do a good job of springing you out of the turn. Like you would think they're going to be heavy and kind of damp, and they do a good job of not chattering, but also when you load up that ski, it gives you the energy back. But that being said, you definitely want to be intermediate to expert and really be able to load the ski, because it has kind of a threshold. If you only load it so much, you're not really going to get much back out. But if you load it, X to the second power or whatever, that's when it really loads and gives you all that energy back. There's kind of a weird threshold if you had it on a graph.
Really making this thing stand out on the groomers without giving up too much in terms of off-trail performance. But you're getting quality, you're getting precision. These StormRider 88s are just an awesome choice for that advanced expert skier who wants one ski to do everything. You're going to get it all with the StormRider 88. Check this thing out at skiessentials.com, and we'll see you out there on the hill. Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna give Bob a little heat here. If you're gonna say that, okay, this is an intermediate to expert and you want a ski that's gonna do it all, this is the ski for you, I think that's a bunch of baloney, Bob. And here's why: because you just said that these can only go on the trail 20% of the time if you're gonna mainly stay on the trail. Okay, so Bob, would you own these skis and only own these skis for 3 years? Because I did it, and as soon as I got something else lighter, I was having way more fun in the trees. So it's a little misleading. It's like, if you're only gonna stay on the trail and you're gonna maybe go off trail every once in a while, maybe with your kids or with friends, sure, this is a perfectly fine ski. But as a one ski quiver for most people who wanna go off trail, don't do that. Don't do this as a one ski quiver. If you wanna like carve and you really like these skis, go for it. But get yourself something else that's gonna be a little bit more flexible, that's gonna have easier kind of washing out your turns, be easier edge to edge and shorter edge to edge time. Do something a little more playful, because this ski is heavy and very difficult to ski in the woods, especially if you ski all day. And that's why I kind of say that I think these are review bait. They get you on a good turn, they feel really good, they get you really positive about it. But what you're not thinking about is, what would somebody who actually bought these have to deal with? And that's having them for 2 or 3 years like I did. So that's my opinion. I will say though, another excellent review from Ski Essentials. Bob didn't say anything that was inaccurate, but I'm trying to give you guys maybe more in-depth analysis of what the ski was like as someone who owned it for 3 years and really had to kind of sit on the sidelines and watch the trees, and I could go in there, but you would just be exhausted because it's so hard to get the skis around. So, and that's so coming from someone who, you know, when I was like a broke college kid, I would take like old GS skis in the woods because that's all I had, you know. But you make do because it's great and it's fun. But I can say that these skis, they are okay. They'll get you by if you just go slightly off trail, but going deep off trail, they're exhausting and they're much better options. And for the price, you could get 2 pairs of skis, especially if you buy this time of year. So anyway, that's my hot take about the Stockley Stormrider. I will try more this year so I can give you guys, you know, also I'll kind of circle back to the Laser SXs. I gave those a good score back then too. So, but again, I had to own the Stormriders for 2 to 3 years and really ski on them, and it becomes more apparent with the mileage that you put on them, some of these shortcomings that aren't outlined by Ski Essentials, and even weren't outlined by me when I wrote my first review. So, anyway, I'm just trying to be transparent with you guys. As always, I don't sell skis, I'm just here to tell you about them, and if you want to get a pair of Stormriders, they are nice skis. They are definitely nice skis, but you should also know about their shortcomings. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this content, please give me a like. Feel free to subscribe. If you get ring the bell, you get notifications, so that way you can just kind of see my content fed to you as it comes out. You don't have to go out looking for it. But as always, just thank you for watching. I really enjoy this kind of content, and I really appreciate how nice everyone is in the comments and everything. So yeah, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.
You hear that, Samson?